over time, what is now Israel, you had the Temple of Astara, which these were ancient temples where they would gather under the divine feminine. And they would convene with the Kadeshas and with the priestesses in there to convene with the goddesses, to convene and have conversations through sacred sexual practices. That mitzvah, that when a boy becomes a man, was often brought to these temples of Astara to have these connections with the priestesses. But then there was the Temple of Yahweh, early Hebrew and monotheistic practices of this one God concept that you talk about. They wanted more power, political power, more land, and more followers. So how did they do that? By making slowly, over time, people come into their practices. So adapting a lot of, as it spread, adopting a lot of the pagans, whereas the common religion around, going to them, drawing them in, and then slowly over time shaming sexuality, making sacred sexuality illegal, making things more about purity. And if you shut down sexuality, you shut down women's bodies, you can take a lot of power, because women's sexuality has a lot of power to it. And over time, this has developed into what is our modern day Western kind of repression and shame surrounding sexuality. And modern day Tantra, as we were talking about it, is kind of bringing back these ancient rites and moving beyond what is now the status quo, reclaiming sexual power. It's its own form of renaissance.
That, Honeybee, brings up like so many things that we talked a little bit about what we were going to talk about. And so I'm just going to make a decision on because it brings up so many points. I think the first thing I want to ask you, because I really want to ask you more about like, what is Tantra in an American sense, in a Western sense, and in a traditional sense. But before I do that, we might as well just dive straight in. So why do you think that, just like, in like consciousness, you could say, why do you think that sexuality became one of the aspects of human life that became so repressed?
When you repress people's sexuality, you can control them better. You have better followers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you repress women's bodies, you have better followers. You have people who are less liberated in their yeses and their nos and their embodiment. When you